What's the biggest mistake you've ever made? I once got a ride home from a murderer. I work security at a place downtown, get off work at 11 at night and have to take the train or public transit home every night. Well, about a third of the way home, we got told we all had to get off the train because there was an accident on the tracks up ahead and there likely wouldn't be any more trains for the rest of the night. So we all get off the train and start walking, grumbling to fellow passengers about how far the places we have to get to are when two other guys in security uniforms who had been on the train with me said their car was just a few blocks over and were headed towards my neighborhood and offered me a ride if I wanted it. At this point, due to all the delays on the train from the accident, it was already almost midnight and I wasn't even halfway home yet, so I said sure. Now before you start yelling how stupid it was to accept a ride, I know. As a small female, I would normally never take a ride with two males I didn't know. But they were also fellow security guards, and where I live, security guards all have a sort of camaraderie and look out for each other regardless of what company we work for. So I figured that these guys, being two fellow security people, were probably just trying to help out another security person, you know? As we started walking towards the car, I noticed one of the guys was acting kinda weird and possibly intoxicated, which had me a little concerned, but I was like, well, he's not the one driving and the other guy seems okay, so I should be fine, right? I was wrong. I was so wrong. We got to the car and it wasn't a car at all, but rather a van that one of the guys was apparently actually living out of. Sketchy as F, and I even said to myself internally, holy F, this looks like a murderer's van. Instead of being a sane and rational human being and immediately running away upon seeing what I had literally already dubbed in my head as a murder van, I got in the van. It was one of those moments of social conditioning that so many women experience, of being afraid to say or do something for fear of offending others or causing a scene. Which is stupid, I know, because they're literal strangers, so who cares if you offend them, right? But that social conditioning that women experience to not make a scene is so strong, especially when you're scared and afraid of what the person might do when you try to leave. So while yes, it was incredibly stupid of me to not immediately run away, it was definitely a combination of social conditioning and one of those fear-freeze moments. So anyways, my stupid ass gets in and the intoxicated guy who weirded me out while walking to the van just keeps getting worse. Talking about how he wants Trump to be president again, talking about race riots, just all kinds of fun crazy stuff and utter nonsense. The whole time I was sitting in the front seat with my phone open, rapidly messaging my partner that I had made a horrible decision and I was honestly scared that I might not make it home that night. Probably the only smart thing I did that night was not tell them directly where I lived. I had them stop a few streets over from my house and took a weird back way home, even cutting through bushes in someone's yard just to be safe. Well, 2 days later I'm at work looking at the news only to see that at approximately 11 in the morning, the day after my wild ride home, another fellow security guard had been shot and killed in the labor and delivery ward over at the hospital by my house. Who was the shooter, you might ask? The shooter ended up being the crazy guy in the backseat that had me terrified, and the guy who actually drove me home ended up being the guy's getaway driver away from the shooting.